the British recognized Egba as a country. And for almost 20 years, from 1893, after the end of Magon War, up to the time of amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914. And let me assure every one of us here today, the Egbas, we were never part of the amalgamation in 1914. We were a separate country. So we were not there in January in 1914 when they had their country called Nigeria. It was after they realized that Nigeria was going to be a failure because they wouldn't have access to the Atlantic Ocean. And let me assure you, or let me inform you, our boundary was at Ebute-Metta in Lagos. So Egba United Kingdom was a country that extended up to Lagos. We were looking at the Lagos Island, that is. And somehow, September, 9 years after, or before that time, 1904, Obagbadebo went to London. When he came back with a lot of reforms. And that reforms led to a lot of problems within the Egba. Because at that time, the Alake had to listen to the Ogboni before he could do anything. But the time he came back from England, he wanted reforms, which eventually led to a German war against the system. And the British tricked us and said they were going to help him to reduce or quell the problem unless he can surrender the sovereignty of Egba temporarily. That was what he said. So Alake did. And before he realized it, we lost Egba United Government. And we were stepped down from Egba United Government to become an Egba Native Authority. Now, I just want to let you understand who you are as an Egba here today. So when they are talking about the amalgamation or all those things, you should be able to tell them that everything that is called first in Nigeria today, we had it before we became part of Nigeria. The first bridge in Nigeria, Shokori Bridge, we had it in 1904 before we joined Nigeria. The first hospital, Lantoro Hospital, we had it before we joined Nigeria. So Nigeria eventually took our history and started calling it part of their history. Oh, the first this in Nigeria. No, it wasn't. Yes, we had it. So back to what my friend and Chief Sueton just mentioned. You see, Nigeria Adire, oríṣi mẹ́ta or mẹ́rin ni aṣọ wa. A kì í wọ aṣọ láràbarà tẹ́lẹ̀. Tó bá wọ aṣọ pupa, a jẹ́ pé ìwọ tó worship Ṣàngó ni ẹ́. Tó bá wọ aṣọ funfun, a jẹ́ Ọlọ́bàtálá tàbí òrìṣà oko. Ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá jẹ́ Sowunmi, Sowẹ̀tàn, Sowùlọ, Sowkìní kọ́tẹ́lì máa gbọ́ àwọn olórìṣà oko nìyẹn. Sowowale, sọ̀rọ̀ mi yé gbà sí. Bẹ̀tì Ẹ̀gbá ò kì í pè ní Ọbàtálá, òrìṣà oko là ń pè l'Ẹ́gbà. Now, let us look at the Adire that we have all been talking about. There is just very little people who were working on Adire at the time. They didn't study industrial revolution. You have to move. If you don't move up, Adire is both art, it's an art, and it's also a commercial dress. It should get to a level that anybody who wears Adire should be seen. The locally made one. You should be able to look at it from a museum. We don't have a record of it, which is what we in the Egba Heritage Foundation is working towards, to have a museum of arts for Adire in Abeokuta, and we are working on it. Now, The Chinese, in the last 10 years, I was there about 3 times. I went to China for other things. Now, for some of us who study marketing or accounting or whatever, there's something called Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. Food, shelter, and what? And clothing. If you don't have attainment of these 3 basic needs, you will always be poor. Now, for Chinese economy to grow, for them to sustain their 1.4 billion people, they will need to grow their economy, their GDP by 8.1% annually. They didn't achieve that until 2021. But for them to do, now what am I saying is, they don't have the purchasing power to buy what they are producing in their country. So they need all the opportunity to export to be able to sustain that 1.4 billion population. If they don't, there will be revolution in that country. So they either look for opportunity of shipping out, export. 45, Chinese population will reduce by 400 million out of the employment market. They will be old, they will leave the country, and they will not have anything to do. But how do you sustain the new generation? And I can tell you for a fact, when I was in Beijing, they are already building the houses for people that will be born in the next 25 years. Massive buildings that were going on in China. Now, the Chinese studied Nigerian market. What can we buy or what can we sell to Nigeria? They couldn't find it more than oil. Because we're very proud people. We like to wear our